Thank you. So what's going to be our key approach this fall? Kind of a two-pronged approach. Parents and Cubs recruit via their networks, schools, neighborhoods, church, workplaces, wherever you interact with people that they know. And so we're going to be asking and suggesting that you have talked to your parents, get information to your parents and your Cubs, and say, you know, we need you to go out and recruit people. We need you to share the enthusiasm that you have for scouting with other people that you know that aren't involved in the program. You know, we send emails to them, and we've got some information later that we'll be able to share so that you can, you know, put that in your emails. We're also going to have cards that we can send out, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later and show you what they look like. But it is incumbent upon Cubs and parents to recruit their friends through those particular networks. That's the first approach. Second approach, key approach, is conducting a recruiting night. Very similar to what we've done in the past. Probably won't be in school. We may or may not be able to get flyers passed out in school. We're certainly going to do that if we can. But it is a key item of that approach is that we need you to set the date. When are you going to do that, and where are you going to do that? If for whatever reason you don't believe or think that it can be a face-to-face, then we'd say, well, let's set a time and invite people to a Zoom meeting where you can talk with them, where you can go through this this slideshow that we've got that you're going to be able to use. But again, whatever it is, we need to know when you're going to do it and where you're going to do it. If you are going to have a face-to-face, you know, we certainly will provide assistance based upon your comfort level with the recruiting process. We do have the, as I said, the video or the PowerPoint presentation, and we do have a script. And we'd like everybody to, if you're going to do face-to-face, we'd like you to use that PowerPoint and that script so that we're telling and sharing the same message to everyone throughout the district and throughout the council. So contact your DE or Joe if you are going to do that. So next slide, please, Joe. So you're saying, well, you want me to do that? What are you guys going to do? Well, we're going to do our best with schools. First of all, we sent a letter out earlier to all the principals of all the schools in the council and essentially said, you know, thank you for what you've been doing to support scouting. We appreciate that. You know, just like you, we are interested in you know, educating and promoting good citizenship among your students, our scouts, and we certainly wish to continue working with you. We, as far as I know, we really haven't had many responses to that letter, but we will be contacting principals as we approach, you know, school opening dates to see where they are relative to us using you using their facilities. Social media, we're going to use social media, web page, Facebook, but we do need, again, input information from you. We need your program calendar. Again, Joe mentioned that webinar that we had earlier. If you haven't finished your program calendar, please get it finished up. Get it into the office by the 1st of August. And again, as I just mentioned, we need to know what kind of recruitment you're going to do and when you're going to do it. There's going to be we're going to have in a little bit, Joe will share a document that we're going to be using to gathered some of this information from you. Joe, you want to show that now? You're muted, Joe.
Yep. I'm out of Camp Decorah right now, so there's sounds of scouts having fun in the background. So I'm trying to keep that off. But yeah, I will share the.
We should capture it. We should can that stuff.
Yeah, we should. I'm gonna share a few things here. First of all the resources that we're gonna show you in a little bit, those can all be found at gatewayscouting.org/recruiting. And I'll share that in the chat in a little bit. But what we're going to ask people to do, you know, Rob just talked about setting a date for your unit. And we've got just a quick checklist here that we would like each unit to, complete. You know, the pack number, of course, and then we know that each pack operates a little bit differently. Some have a Cub Master that takes the lead on recruiting. Others, it's a new member coordinator or maybe a key parent. So just to let us know who the person is that we should be in touch with. Who the person is that we should be in touch with on our end, and then the who it is that we should be in touch with on our end, and then the other person that you should have this on your screen now. So you'll see pack, key person. Is your unit's pin up to date and turned on? We're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Knowing if your pack has a website or a Facebook page, that helps us promote you also. We're going to talk about re-engaging families in a moment. We're asking each pack to plan basically a re-engagement activity. So this is for families that have been involved previously. Some sort of a kickoff type event to get those families re-engaged. So maybe it's a fishing derby, a rocket launch, a bike rodeo, something you can do in the next month to get your previously involved families back to scouting. Now, if you share that date with us, and if you so choose, we will actually work with you to send a postcard out to all of your previously involved families. You're going to see that on the screen here in a moment. Just one more communication method in addition to everything that you would do as a pack. You know, we've missed seeing you at Cub Scouts. Join us for our fishing derby on August 10th at the city park. Share with the returning families some of your key activities planned for the year. This is designed to build some excitement and get people coming back to your unit. Now we would be glad to mail this out to families in your unit for you. We just would ask for about a 2-week notice to help make that happen, considering that there's about 45 packs we'll be trying to assist on this. Also on this form, how will your pack welcome new families this fall? Maybe it's an outdoor activity, maybe it's a traditional sign-up night, maybe it's an online meeting even. Everybody should plan to do something. Communicate with us on when and where that'll take place. That'll allow us to, again, work with you individually to promote this. So maybe it's flyers that you can that we can distribute at the school. Maybe it's posters you put up in the community. You see down here the ways that we would promote that. Facebook event with paid ads, communication within the school, maybe some local TV and radio, asking you to really focus on having that event being shared with families and friends. A few minutes ago, Rob talked about social media and that we would help promote that for you. What the plan right now is that we would create a event page for whatever it is that your pack has planned. So I'll show a sample one here. So we would create an event page. Maybe it's for an information meeting. Maybe it's for a joining night. Whatever that would be, you'll see a sample here in a minute. So we'll create that page, and then what we're going to ask your family to do, or what we're going to ask your pack to do, is have as many families as possible share this. You know, that gets some of the traffic out there. Email the link to people, share it on your own personal Facebook page, share it on your pack page. If your school has a page, see if the school will share it. If your neighborhood has a page, if your community has a page, share it in all these ways. The more people that do that, the more energy builds behind it. We've got money that we're planning to use to boost one of these as well. we would do some paid advertising for your zip code. So this year's just a sample date, so you'll actually see this deleted from the page shortly. But we talk about doing a joint scouting night at the Bangor Park on August 18th. Again, we'll plan to spend some money to advertise this to everybody that has a 54614 zip code on Facebook. We're asking your pack to share it, get your family sharing it, see if we can work together to really get some good activity on this in your community. Rob?
Well, I just want to reiterate that we've talked about a little bit about postcards, and actually we've got two different postcards we can use. One is that can be sent to your current members, talking about that August or September, August-September activity for those that are currently registered, and as well as put it on your Facebook page, put it on your website, and a second postcard that we can have sent to your prospects. Of course, we need names and addresses for prospects. So if you've got a parent that's got access to the school roster, certainly we could go through that. We could send it to all the first, second, third, fourth graders that were on there from last year's roster. Excuse me. Or if you can feed names and addresses of potential members, we can use that information as well, or instead.
Yeah, I'm just showing a sample of that on the screen right now. Again, you'll find this on the website. This can be used two different ways. Number one, it's something that you can customize for your unit. So you see on the back here, you can fill it out, your pack, what's the event, any other information. It's a fillable PDF. If you are looking at a large quantity of these, work with us at the office and we'll help you on a print order. This is something that families could share with each other, or you could have it at a community location. And then as Rob said, if you somehow have access to like your school mailing list or things like that, those have been more and more difficult to acquire from the school districts directly, but sometimes you'll have that as a parent, or your PTO maybe makes it available. We'll work with you to get that mailed out to as many people as possible and really get the word out on it.
So we're also going to be using the local media. So a little bit of some TV ads on ABC, CBS, Fox. Maybe some of you saw the great footage on CBS last night, Channel 8 last night. They had a nice piece on Camp Decorah and kids at camp. So, evidence to the community that scouting is still alive and active. And I think, Joe, you said there were more that were out at camp today?
I think ABC WXOW will be doing a story tonight, I believe.
Oh, good. So we're also gonna go after some radio ads. We've been investigating some print in your local shopper type newspapers, magazines. We're finding that's a little on the maybe a little on the pricey side for us, but if it's not too far out of reach, we might do that as well. We gotta watch our budget, But the print material, we already talked about that for the most part. The only thing we didn't mention was yard signs. If you want yard signs to distribute to your PAC members or maybe your PAC committee members, and they can put them up in their yards, with information written on the bottom of it that says, when and where you're going to meet. We certainly have those, can make those available as well. So what do you need to do? What does the PAC need to do? Well, we've mentioned this 2 or 3 times already. Get that program calendar done if it's not already done so. Good programming. Good programming is what keeps Cub Scouts and Scouts involved in their PACs and their troops. That's what keeps them coming, is a great program. So good programming, make sure you get that program done and intersperse it with a lot of great fun activities. You need to update your PIN. And I think we've got some information we'll share in just a couple of minutes about that. Again, your web page, your Facebook page, make sure that information on there is current. Post your upcoming events on there so that it's easy for people to see. We're going to promote online registration. That can go right directly from your pin right into that registration. Go from BeAScout.org and go right into registration. But it is essential, if we're going to do online registration, that the application approvers that are listed are current. Maybe you've got a Cub Master. Maybe you're a new Cub Master, and the old one left, but that's the name that's on the web page to be an approver. So we need to get that fixed. We need to get that changed. We'll talk a little bit about that. The reason we want you to use online registration as much as possible, it makes everything so much easier for both you and the council. You don't have to be, people do it right online. They fill it out. They get the information in there. They pay right online. They click the button and it goes into the National Registry right away. There's no chasing around and finding papers and collecting signatures. And the council gets, accurate information and gets it in a timely manner. And the last thing on this page is that recruiting night for scouting. That's the PowerPoint presentation that I mentioned. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a bit. Now, did we want to talk about updating our pin, Joe?
Yeah, if I could just share a few things on that. So just to kind of back up a few steps and get everybody aware of what we're talking about, and maybe you may have seen this before, maybe it's new information to you depending on your role. So BeAScout.org, that's BEA, scout.org. It's a national website that ties all units in the country together. So this is available for any family out there to access and search for scouting. So as an example, we're going to put in the zip code here for La Crosse just because it'll give us some contrast. You'll see people search for a zip code, and then it'll show them any of the scout units within 20 or within 10 or 20 miles of them. Each unit has their own profile within this. So what you see is that first of all, here we've got a couple of different packs in La Crosse. You can see the pack 17. They've done a really good job with their pin. They talk about where they meet. They have contact information here that a family could reach out to. They have got a website. They talk about that their pack is for both male and female, and then they have online registration available. And there's even a little bit of a description. Now you compare that to pack 10, which is a little bit of a newer pack, so not quite as well established. They don't have anything on their area at all. So that's something that we need each pack to try and get up to date. Now you're wondering how exactly do I do that? If you go to the my.scouting webpage, that's the same portal that you probably have used for online youth protection training and other things like that. You're going to go, if you're the Cub Master Committee Chair, you need to start the process by going into my.scouting, select the organization manager, and then from there you go in and you update all of the information for your unit. Let's say that you're on the call tonight and you're not the Cub Master Committee Chair, but you want to make sure this gets done for your unit. You either can talk to the individual in that role and do that, or else you can contact us and we can manually update it for you. But it is our goal that every pin be up to date with online registration turned on prior to August 1st. Rob?
Just a few points about that PowerPoint presentation. Recruiting night for scouting. Again, that was first used last year. It was introduced in fall roundtables last year. It's got comprised of 11 slides, and it answers many of those questions that you see right there. You know, what do Cubs want? Well, they want fun. What do parents want? You know, quality time, youth development, meet other people, uh, and it lists many of those things. Talks about finance. I've got some new financing issues that we need to deal with this fall. There's going to be a new $25 joining fee. It's the first time that we've had that, but as you're probably aware, there's a lot of organizations or clubs, or the Y, for example. Oftentimes they might have a joining fee. So we've got that this time. It only applies one time. So once you register as a Cub, it never has to be paid again. And then there'll be a proration of the annual fee. $66 is the new annual fee. I think that works out to about $5.50 a month, which of course is prorated depending upon when your recharter date is, and then the $4 council fee for insurance. And I think Joe wants to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'll just help everybody. Again, we've got a resource for this on the Gateway Scouting / recruiting page that I'll share with everybody here. It just kind of helps understand it a little bit better. So 2 big things to realize with this. Number one, the fees are different this year. At this point, you know, your new families are the ones that are going to be affected by that, and then when your existing families recharter later in the year, it'll be something that occurs that way. So you see, really, there's three different ways that takes place. Number one, you know, there's the joining fee or the membership fee of $66 to VSA National, and a $4 fee to the Gateway Council. That's what pays for everybody's scouting insurance. And then there's the new member joining fee.
We're not seeing that slide, Joe.
Okay, thank you. Because this is prorated, what it works out to be is $38 plus 25. We're going to create a graphic similar to this so that everybody has a chance to see that. But the thing that I really want everybody to understand is that financial assistance is available through Gateway Scouting for any family where money would keep them from being able to be part of the program. So we've got dollars that we specifically have raised for this need, and you know, it's our goal to use them to support families. So if somebody is telling you that they will not be a scout because of the fee, you know, let them know that financial assistance is available. Contact us and make a request for that, and then we'll, depending on how many people are asking, we'll either, you know, cover half of the fee or maybe 2/3, or you know, in some cases all of it. So I want everybody to be aware that assistance is available.
So again, we've got that PowerPoint presentation available for you to use. There's a script. Follow the script. As I mentioned before, we want to make sure we get a consistent message across. And if you plan to use that and do that, you know, let us know, and we'll do our best to have somebody there to help you with that to the extent that you need that help. Next slide, please. So, what do we think are the keys to success for our for this fall? Whoa. Make sure your PAC information is current. The key is family-to-family recruiting. We've been talking about that. You know, today's parents don't respond well at all to unsolicited information that they receive via the letter coming to them into their mailbox, or email coming into their email mailbox. If it's unsolicited, they're more than likely, or just as likely, to throw it away and not even look at it. They're far more trustworthy of people that they know, that they associate with, who can tell them about their experience and why they like scouting and why they're involved in scouting. So you need to think about all those networks that people, your PAC, are tied into. And then, you know, be prepared to coach some of your current members on how to respond to any questions that people might raise relative to youth protection, the BSA, bankruptcy, and you know, the charges or some of the filings that in the negative information that they're going to be seeing. And ask members to send emails to particular people, to prospects that they know, and let us know about names and addresses so we can get those postcards out to them as well. And again, your plan, your program plan, your calendar. Plan your plan and work your plan. Re-engage your unit. You know, make sure that you stay active and stay connected to people, so that when it comes time to recharter, you won't have all kinds of people saying, well, we didn't do anything all winter, so what the heck, why should we do this? So it's incumbent upon all of us to do all that we can to make sure that we keep people engaged in the program. And a little bit more information, a couple of upcoming events, something that will help you. We've got a how-to session again on Zoom, July 30th, about recruiting leaders and den leaders and establishing a new family orientation process. And then on the 19th of August, we belong to a Scout transition webinar. And again, that's all about making sure that we don't lose our Webelos as they leave the pack. And we, of course, want them to join a Scout troop to be able to continue the adventure in Scouting. And that particularly is for Cub Masters, Webelos leaders, and Scout Masters. So, Joe.
Yeah, so we talked about that a big focus this year is trying to encourage your scouts and families to recruit other youth. So we've got a kind of a bit of a fun way to support that. So we're calling it the Power of One. With the idea that really that's what it is. It's the power of one person to recruit another individual into scouting. So for every new scout that's recruited by a current scout, they'll be entered into a weekly drawing for a $20 Walmart card. We're going to do those between August 7th and October 30th. So let's say that you bring an application in for Billy Smith and he was recruited by Tommy. You just would make a note on that and let us know that when you turn it in at the service center. We then would enter Tommy into a drawing for a $20 Walmart card that week. Now every week it's a different set of youth being drawn. So if Tommy recruits a scout in week 1 as well as week 3 and week 4, he would be in the drawing each week. Any scout that recruits 3 kids, they'll be in a drawing on November 6th for any scouts that recruited 3 new youth, and that's a pretty significant accomplishment. We got a lot of resources to help support this, which I'll show in a few minutes, but this includes new scouts. Maybe it includes kids that were in scouts a couple years ago and didn't re-register last year. It could even include new scout siblings. So there's a lot of ways to participate and get a little bit of excitement going with this. So I'm going to spend a few minutes now showing everybody what we have online, and then we'll make sure that we've got some time for questions here. Also, I want to thank Rob for sharing all the great content that he just did. So first of all, so the website where you're going to find all this is gatewayscouting.org/recruiting. And we'll, if somebody wants to share that in the chat, that'd be helpful. So really from top to bottom, we start off with the resources for PACs here. So that's that checklist that we started with. And I would ask that you return that checklist to the Scout Service Center, or you can send it directly to myself or Daniel. And again, this will help us make sure that we're organized to best support your PAC. Really the 2 things that we're wanting, the things that we need to know, who your key people are, the web presence you have, and then if you'd like us to do a postcard to returning families, and then when and where will some sort of a joining night take place. You've got that resource here on the infographic that I shared earlier. When you take the time to update your BeAScout pin, there's a helpful checklist for you to make sure that you've hit all the key areas. You see that PAC title, address, contact person, dens, and then the description. So you got the 5 areas there, A through E. And Brenda, who's on the call here tonight, she's an expert with this, so she'll be able to help your PAC if needed. You can reach out to her. Thanks, Brenda, for doing that. The welcome back postcard, we shared that. Again, we would look for 14-day notice if possible for us to help get that out. The Power of One, that was that invitation program that I mentioned. So you've got a bit of a flyer here that you could share with families in your pack. Talks about exactly about how it works. We then have the resources that you would use to do that. So we've got the invitation cards, one that's 6 to a sheet, another that's 12 to a sheet. Those are both fillable PDFs. We've got some posters that you can print, or if you'd like us to print those at the service center, just be in contact. You can put those up at a workplace or church or a community location. I want to spend a minute on the flyers here. So I hope that we'll be able to distribute these through the schools in some fashion, although it certainly could be different. So you've got, the front page where we would work with you to customize the text, join scouting in Bangor on August 18th at the park, 6:30. The back page here, it has some basic template information about Cub Scouting. It does talk in here about that there may be an online component. But then we also have an area that we would like to update for your pack, where you share some of your exciting program activities with your school or community. So again, once we have your date set, we'll work together to customize this. Really want to tell people about the what of Cub Scouting rather than just talking about den meetings and pack meetings. Finally, here we've got some online links. So the Family Fun Fest, BeAScout.org. Rob talked about the Welcome to Scouting presentation. And that, again, we would like that to be used at any join night. That allows there to be consistent information shared with all new families. And if you're doing a joining night, we'll work together to try and support that. So you've got the slide deck here that's supported by talking points that'll help you walk through that. And then finally, the presentation from this evening.
So one thing we might want to talk about just very briefly is what if the people that are on the pin right now are no longer available, and so how do they go about getting somebody approved or lined up to be able to make those changes to the pin?
Yes, there's two things with that. As I said earlier, it is the Cub Master or committee chair that typically starts that process. So if there's been some changeover in your pack, please complete a new adult application for that person. That'll let us get all the permissions changed over. Now, if that's delayed in your unit for some reason, let's say that you're trying to find a signature or somebody's not available, you can contact Brenda or myself, and we then will manually update that for you, and we'll update the pin for you. So we'll need to know all the information A through E that you would like on there, but we can manually do that. Again, August 1st would be our target date. If something's not updated by that point, look to hear from one of us to get that process done, because we do anticipate that families are going to need this online system to join your pack this fall.
Okay. I think we've got a few minutes for some questions. Anybody got any questions for us tonight? We covered a lot of material, covered it pretty quick.
You can do your question in the chat area, or you can take yourself off mute and ask the group too.
I had a question about the flyers. So right now my school is not sending home anything that's not absolutely necessary. We're sending home homework maybe once a week, if that, or work that's completed in the classroom. So I think that's going to be tricky, and that's super unfortunate, because it does get a lot of kids super excited about, they see those pictures. But I'm wondering if, I could see using those as a PDF on social media. They look so sharp, and they have all of the information that we need. I mean, could we even get a minimal amount of flyers to be used, for those personal invites, and also on social media?
Yep, absolutely. That's available as a resource for you. So, let's say that your school is not doing paper flyers, which I do anticipate, that's going to be the case in some places, and you want 150 flyers to put out at the library and at the Quick Trip and at the whatever other places people congregate. Contact us at the service center. we'll work with you to get those mocked up with the right information on the front page, the right pack activities on the back page, and we'll either, you know, print it and bring those out, or you can come and pick it up, or in some cases we may just determine that it's easiest to drop them in the mail and send you a manila envelope with them. So absolutely,
Okay.
all those, any of those printing resources are available via the Scout Service Center if you request it. You know, advanced time is obviously helpful since we're trying to support 45 packs right now. So yes.
I also had an idea while you were talking. So, you know, at the in the home quarantine, or, you know, safer at home, you saw a lot of schools putting together videos. It's really not that hard to compile a video, and that is something that I think all of us should consider, gathering some of your photos from your favorite events and getting it into a video and getting it on social media. Because one of the things that we have found in our town when we're recruiting, we try to use the scouts as much as we can, because when kids see that kid that goes to their school or sees that familiar face, they're so much more inclined to take an interest in what Scouts has to offer. So I don't know, that was an idea that I had while you were talking.
Absolutely.
Well, that's exactly one of the things that we were saying, and that's why we've got that that reward program for any scout that recruits a scout to be into that drawing for that that weekly drawing for that gift card.
You know, on that video note, I'm just going to share. I'm going to share another set of resources here. It'll take me a few minutes to get to it, but two things that I want to share with your. So on that video note, mid-August, we should see a resource release from BSA National, where it actually is going to be a video den meeting for every single adventure in Cub Scouting, all 97 of them through each rank. And we'll certainly share that from the council level once that comes out. But what that means is that gives you a resource at the pack level where if you cannot meet in person for some reason, you could use those den meeting adventures as a way to keep your scouts moving. And then maybe you find a way to award the belt loops at a outdoor activity or when you do come together for a pack meeting. So that's a really exciting resource that's in development that we'll share when it's ready to go. And then there also are some pre-made join Cub Scout videos out there currently that have got, you know, that you could place on social media, or you could place those on social media, or you could, you know, share them as part of a Facebook post, things like that. We'll probably share that as an after email item to everybody. I'm having trouble locating it right now from this computer, but so those are two thoughts on video. The other thing with flyers is there may be less traditional ways to distribute those. Somebody suggested the other night that you know, they thought that when their school did the technology pickup night at the beginning of the year, that they thought they'd be able to hand out some flyers there, and they even said they were planning to have scouts in uniform doing that. I thought that was an excellent idea. So that's maybe something to keep an eye out for if your school is doing that this fall.
I just wanted to say that it's 7 o'clock, actually 7:01. It's if anybody needs to jump off, we kind of had an hour in mind. If anybody needs to jump off, we want to appreciate that you took the hour to be with us. But otherwise, we'll stay here for a little bit and field any more questions that anybody might have.
Joe, I have a question. Do you know if everything got switched over from when Doug was the Cub Master to me?
You know, I will check from this workstation, but I believe we have you registered as the Cub Master right now.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know if not.
Well, Joe, it looks like we either did a good job, we just overwhelmed overwhelmed them so much they just don't know what to ask first.
Yeah, well, I appreciate everybody being on. I think the next step for you all is to take this information back to whatever sort of unit committee you have. And I realize that in some of our units, the committee is maybe not what you wish it was as a Cub Master. But to take this back to your unit committee, share this with them, and then figure out what your next steps as a pack are. When are you going to do your reactivation night for previously involved kids? Work with us to help get the communication out. And then what would you like to do for a new Scout kickoff? Again, work with us to get the communication out. Because without the ability to do that in the schools, we're really going to need to create just a lot of other communication streams to be able to substitute for that. But I know that we can do it. We've got packs out there that have had kids join this summer, and there's packs out there that are, still having people join, and there's families in your communities that are still looking for scouting.
I think the plan was to record this session tonight. And so Joe, will you add that? Put a link out there on that / recruiting page for this. If they choose, if anybody wants to look at it again, or if they want to share it with their unit committee, it'll be available for you for that purpose if you choose to do so.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. We will, we'll share that on that page. Just so everybody's aware, if you go to the recording and you think it doesn't look right, we started the recording right after we got done talking about youth protection. So we were a little bit late starting the recording, but we've got all the information about the recruiting resources in it. The other piece is, if you want to schedule a time for one of us to dial into your PAC committee meeting and talk through all this with your PAC, we'd be more than happy to do so, whether it's Daniel or myself or Rob or Brenda or Mark, who's kind of part of the support team for PACs as well.
Can I just say one more thing that so the $25 joining fee is a new thing. One thing so I've been doing the recruiting for, I think, around 3 years now in Toma. And one thing that's a hard sell for parents is when you sit down with them with the uniform, the supply list. And, I have 3 kids in Scouts, and once you establish them, it gets better. But I had twins, and so they came up at the same time, and that cost is fairly large. Have you ever talked about, like, people who are moving out of sizes or out of scouting? Like, is there a kind of closet that could be utilized to help those families that, because it's not just the cost of joining Scouts. I think the uniform can also be kind of expensive. I always stress to the families that worry about it that the number one thing that they need to get is their Scout book. They need to get the rank book. And sometimes you can share those, but I know that I found as a leader that they don't, especially when females joined, the books changed, and so we would say, oh, turn to page 62, and it's not the same. So that's a problem too.
Yeah, just kind of a couple of thoughts on that. Number one, I would agree. The book is the most important thing. If somebody's resources are limited, I would recommend the book each time. We do have some packs that have begun to create that uniform closet within the pack, and I think that's an excellent idea. Once again this year, when new Scouts join, they will receive a Welcome to Cub Scouting T-shirt, as a thank you that comes from Gateway Scouting. There's some families where they'll wear that T-shirt till they get through the popcorn sale, and they'll use some of the popcorn money to buy that uniform. Or I even know families where they'll wear that T-shirt for Christmas, and maybe the Cub Scout uniform is a Christmas gift. I see a lot of used uniforms show up out there too on the thrift sales and some of the stuff for sale sites. So yeah, you're right, absolutely right, Kate. That can be a barrier to people. And what I would tell you at the pack level is, don't let that be the barrier. Let people know that we're happy you're here doing scouting. Get to the shirt when you can. Although I certainly am a proponent of the Cub Scouts being in uniform, because they take some pride in it, and there's some program pieces to it. But I'll fully admit that they're not cheap, especially if you're looking to outfit several kids.
And the other thing to keep in mind is just letting your the members of your unit know that you accept shirts back when people outgrow them and stuff, it's actually relatively easy to establish, a small number of shirts that, you have available for people that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford them. So we've been doing that for years in a couple of units that I'm involved with. So
I
Great.
have been also
great idea.
looking, I've also been looking at the thrift stores, and I've been collecting pieces over time. I just have a small little clothing bank that I keep here at my place, and that I've been just passing back and forth between scouts.
I just checked the Pack 46 roster, and you are registered as the Cub Master. So, yeah, I'm glad that got done. The other thing, somebody actually just Becky, who I asked to be on the call tonight. Some of you may know Becky at the service center if you stop in, and we're committed as a team to helping our packs with everything. So we're trying to make sure everybody's trained on our staff side too. She just suggested to me that we do have some uniform shirts that occasionally people will donate at the Scout Center. Families are doing a clean out or something. So we do have a very, very limited number available there, but I would offer those if you have families that are, again, in financial need. You can reach out to us and we can see if we can maybe get them sourced that way, because we do want to help people out. Well, if there's any other questions, like I said, feel free to stay on. Rob and I for sure will stay on, with anybody, but we don't need to keep anyone either. So I know we shared a lot tonight. Thanks for listening in. Check out that website, see what questions it generates for you, and then loop those back to us. And I'm going to send out an email to the group here either late tonight or tomorrow from me, and you can just reply to that with any questions you would have, or we'll make sure that everybody's got the link to the resources and a copy of that checklist as well. So, Rob, do you have any final words?
I was just going to say thank you for being with us tonight. And I mentioned a couple of upcoming events, and we'll send out some Zoom invites for those as well, so that you can participate on those webinars too.
Well, thank you, everybody. I know we've got some challenges ahead, but we can do this fall, and we can still keep great scouting going on in our communities.
That's right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And thank you all. Thank you for what you do for scouting. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Very much. The three amigos, here we are.
Well, I counted nine units on that we didn't have anybody on from before, and then we had a few other people where they had somebody else from their unit on Tuesday. So
okay.
I think my rough math would be we got 33 out of our 45 packs trained in. So that's a good that's a good start. I'll get a list of those that we didn't see on here at all, because those are ones that we need to maybe be concerned about.
So, Joe, you had mentioned that I have the ability to go in and update anybody's pins.
Well, no, what I meant on that is that they could send the, I think I probably am the only one that can do that. But
Okay.
they can send the information to either of us. If sometimes people are more comfortable talking to another scout volunteer, or maybe they know you already from the district.
Okay.
If you get any of those, just forward it to me and we'll get.
All right.
And I don't know.
You were hoping you just got some new power, right?
I know well, I jumped right over to myscouting.org to go, what? I was going to ask him where that was at.
Yeah, I should have maybe. I guess I volunteered you for that, but you've been so eager to help out on this. I thought, this is a good way for you to plug in.
I have no problem emailing. What's really great about it is if I contact you, you're Johnny on it. I mean, you really do it. So I think that's a big thing that people are not used to.
Oh, interesting.
So, Well, I don't know because I'm new and you're new, so
Yeah, right.
I'm not.
well, I mean to this Soaring Eagle District, or to this council. What I mean is, I get a lot of feedback that's not always positive about how people don't actually do what they say they're going to do, and it's like, well, okay, you got a couple of new people that actually are doing it, so um,
I certainly expect people to do what they say they're going to do. So, but, you know,
it's amazing how many people expect that and how many people actually don't. So yeah.
I guess if there's anything you'd like to share specifically offline, Brenda, please do.
I just wanted to know if I was actually able to do that, because when I get all these phone calls, they're gonna be like, well, why don't you just do it?
Rob, do you get updates from the area? Are they still doing area membership emails and updates and things?
I do, yeah.
Let's say if you maybe want to reach up the line and just kind of let them know that we've done our kickoffs and that we've had, you know, I guess 33 out of our 45 packs get trained in, and maybe share the website with them. You know, I guess we're 75% of our packs. That's not
too bad.
It's not too bad. It probably could be a little bit better, but the packs that aren't on are ones that I'm concerned about anyway. So
Can we get a list of those?
yeah, yep. I'll get a summary list out here either later tonight or tomorrow of who we didn't have represented, who is on tonight, and then we'll need to kind of take a look at those units that weren't there.
And maybe do some phone calling or contacting of some sort or something.
Yep, exactly.
To see where they're at with that. So, but yeah, good one. I liked your updated PowerPoint pages.
Yeah, those were good, and that power of one thing, that's a new piece I borrowed from other councils. Just when Rob told units to borrow from other people, we borrow stuff from other councils all the time. Get that out to everybody that we didn't have in on Tuesday, and you know.
I like your word borrow rather than steal.
Right.
So
Shamelessly, yeah.
anyway.
Well, I'm gonna hop off. Off here and try and get the rest of my camp business done. So
You have a good night.
I'll talk to you guys both soon.
Yep. Bye.
Bye now. Good night.